Live from the CBS Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is CBS 2 News at 11 p.m.
Now at 11, this image of a masked man waving a machete scared many people at a local synagogue, but tonight, an arrest. Now, the photo was very disturbing to members of the Chabad of North Hollywood.
And despite the arrest, people there are still on edge tonight. CBS 2's Adriana Weingold is live in North Hollywood with the details. Adriana.
Well, certainly some scary moments out here yesterday. The rabbi I spoke with said he was inside when this incident happened outside. A man who had his face covered with a scarf was making threatening gestures towards the synagogue with a machete. A frightening picture taken outside the Chabad of North Hollywood appears to show a man with his face covered in a scarf holding a machete in a threatening manner towards the Chabad.
Obviously, the image is very disturbing. A man with a sword standing in front of a synagogue with his face wrapped the way it was is very concerning.
The incident happened Friday afternoon. Rabbi Nachman Abend says a member of the community took the picture and sent it to them. They called the police immediately, fearing for the safety of their congregation.
We do not believe there's any relation to anybody here. We really do not know who he is. It sounds like he wants to protest something. We're not exactly sure what he's trying to protest.
This is the second disturbing incident at this Chabad in the past couple of months. In November, a man was arrested after pulling wigs off the heads of Orthodox women as they walked to services. Rabbi Abend says the man was arrested for the hate crime and appeared to be mentally disturbed.
Whenever these things happen, it's a wake-up call for everybody, and it puts everybody on edge to a certain extent. But we know that we don't live in fear. We got to continue moving on.
Rabbi Abend says the suspect in yesterday's machete incident was also arrested. He says he's not sure the motive, but says they're doing everything they can to keep the people here safe. Rabbi Abend said he got word this morning of the arrest, and that put the congregation at ease somewhat. Still, he says they are working to increase security here at the synagogue. Live in North Hollywood, Adriana Weingold, CBS 2 News.
Breaking news out of Whittier tonight. A lockdown at PIH Health Hospital on Washington Boulevard has been lifted, but not before some tense moments. Police responded to reports of someone with a gun. They locked down the hospital and searched, but found nothing. Officers say there was no shooting, and again, they found nobody with a gun.
Caught on camera, gas station stick-ups, a string of robberies, and tonight, the hunt for who did it. CBS 2's Jeff Nguyen, he's live at the Chevron gas station on Rosecrans in Compton, where there have been several holdups. Jeff.
In fact, Chris, 3 robberies in less than a week, 2 of them inside this convenience store where an armed man walked in here to hold it up, despite all of the cameras that cover everything from the front door to this counter where he pulled out his gun. From here, he went around the front in order to steal some cigarettes before grabbing his loot out of this register. Problem was, he was wearing a mask. A security camera captured this holdup on December 6th at 1 in the afternoon. The cashier emptied about $150 from her register. Luis Medina is the manager of this Chevron at the corner of North Wilmington Avenue and Rosecrans Avenue in Compton.
It's scary, especially me and my crew working here. We're a little shaken up.
He should know the same masked man seen in this video held him up 2 days later at 9 p.m. This time, about $200 was taken.
He used a .45 revolver, so he did point it at us as soon as he walked in.
What did he say to you?
All he said was, "Give me everything you have."
But that's not all. On Wednesday at 6 p.m., a woman was filling her tank when a man snatched her phone, which led to a struggle. It appears to have been a distraction for a female accomplice to go into the victim's car to grab her purse. Then the suspects jumped into the silver sedan for the getaway. That's when the victim jumped on the hood while the car was moving. The woman slid off as the suspects drove off. Back inside the store, Luis Medina says the purse stealing at the pump does not appear to be related to the 2 holdups, but he believes the same man robbed him and his co-worker because the armed robber had the same gun and mask.
Every time I would go to sleep, I would see his face. So it's scary.
Luis Medina says that the suspect walked up to the gas station and then he left on foot after the robberies. He is described as about 5'8", 170 pounds with dark eyes. Live in Compton, Jeff Nguyen, CBS 2 News.
All right, Jeff, thank you. New developments in the search for two men who tried to rob a South Pasadena jewelry store. Police released this picture showing what they believe is the getaway car, a four-door green 2006 Chevy Malibu with damage to the rear passenger side. The attempted robbery happened yesterday at the Vanna Watch and Jewelry Company. Police say the suspect tried to stab the store owner before the owner's nephew pulled a gun on him.
A woman was airlifted to the hospital today after she was mauled by 3 dogs. Now, 2 pit bulls and a third have now been impounded. Now, it happened while she was hanging laundry in her yard in the Riverside County community of Anza. The Sheriff's Department is investigating why this attack happened in the first place.
A twin-seater Cessna that made an emergency landing on an Orange County beach will stay parked in the sand overnight. A loss of power forced the pilot to land on Doheny State Beach in Dana Point today. He and his nephew, who was riding with him, weren't hurt. A group of Boy Scouts were actually camping at the beach and jumped into action.
The parents started screaming at us, like, get out of the way. And I look over and I see the plane coming straight at us. So I sprint all the way up to the top of the beach, and then I see that it finally comes to a stop, so I start running down, and I see that everybody's starting to try to push it out of the water, because it's like halfway into the water. And then we all start pushing it up. Boy Scouts, we're all about helping out.
All right, good job, Boy Scouts. It's not known tonight what caused the plane to lose power.
Another member of President Trump's cabinet is leaving under a cloud of suspicion. Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke will leave at the end of the year. Now, he's helped expand oil and gas exploration on public lands, but Zinke faces investigations for his travel and potential conflicts of interest. He says he was the victim of politically motivated attacks. No word on who will replace him.
Questions still tonight about the future of Obamacare now that a Texas judge ruled it's unconstitutional. But one thing is certain, people who want coverage should still enroll. That's because the Affordable Care Act will remain in effect while states like California file appeals. The deadline in most states to enroll is today, but because California runs its own exchange, we have until January 31st. The battle over Obamacare is expected to end up in the U.S. Supreme Court.
Well, thousands of LAUSD teachers, they marched in downtown LA today. They say they'll know early next week if they'll go out on strike. CBS 2 Greg Mills spoke to them about their concerns.
UTLA, United Teachers of Los Angeles Union, estimates 50,000 people here. This crowd has relief from overcrowding at the top of their wish list.
Classroom sizes are too big.
Is that the biggest problem?
There's many problems.
UTLA teachers and supporters wearing red for unity and seeing red over LAUSD's reluctance to part with more green.
I want to see actual investment in the schools and in the kids.
UTLA says if LAUSD would just tap into its almost $2 billion reserve fund, it could solve a lot of problems.
It's unconscionable to hold on to that money, acting like kids don't need it now. We need it now.
He and the district have negotiated for 20 months. We reached out to LAUSD a few times for this story and got no response. Their latest proposal, add more teachers and reduce class sizes in communities with the highest need, and a 6% pay raise for teachers.
We're really underpaid. We take a lot of money from our own personal money to be able to do our work in the classroom.
A report from LAUSD and UTLA representatives and a neutral participant should come out early next week, providing insight to both sides. If UTLA is not satisfied, they are prepared to strike in mid to late January. Are you prepared to go that far?
I am.
Retired teacher John Perez went through 2 UTLA strikes, 1970 and 1989. And sees another one coming, and like many here, blames LAUSD Superintendent Austin Buettner.
Buettner wants to privatize the system.
We're here fighting for the survival and the thriving of public education.
They finish up here at the Broad for a reason. They want to send a message to Eli Broad. They believe he favors private schools over public schools, and they don't like it. In downtown Los Angeles, Greg Mills, CBS 2 News.
Controversy for Prada coming up. See why some items on display are being called racist.
Plus, a disturbing post from a well-known comedian. Why people are worried and rallying to support him.
And a marriage proposal like no other, surrounded by 16 dogs in a popular Hollywood canyon.
I love that. Here's a live look with our Santa Monica Pier camera. Pretty clear tonight, but we are tracking a system that could bring us rain.